Yo, what's poppin'? We back at it like a crack addict, you know what I'm saying? Today, I got a long video for y'all. This video is kind of like a throwback Thursday video because it happened a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very interested to watch it because I didn't, you know what I'm saying, get a chance to watch it at the time nor now. So this is going to be the first time I get to see this video. First and foremost, before I start, I want to say long live Kobe Bryant, you know what I'm saying? This interview is a Kobe Bryant interview. You know what I'm saying? I was pretty interested when I saw it. The name of the channel is called Shetty. So shout out to Shetty. You know what I'm saying? If I could post a video, if YouTube is fucking with it, they let me post it. Y'all gonna see it. If not, I tried. You know what I'm saying? The name of this video is called Shetty and Kobe Bryant on how to be strategic and obsessive to find your purpose. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about y'all. I don't really know what y'all doing with y'all life, how y'all life is going day to day. You know what I'm saying? But maybe, you know, it may help somebody out there. You never know. Now, the only issue I have with this video, bro, this video is 50 minutes. So, I don't know if I'm going to cut it and make this shit 2 videos or if I'm just going to post the whole 50-minute video. You know what I mean? I might make this shit 2 parts. So, if you want to see the second part, tune in. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I post it, subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you like the video. If you want to see more interviews and shit, I gladly post them. I love to watch interviews, me personally. So, you know what I mean? It'll be cool. You know what I'm saying? To look up some people. Y'all can send me some interviews and shit if y'all want to see it. But yeah, man, I ain't gonna hold y'all no longer. You know what I'm saying? Let's get straight to this interview, man. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe if you're new. Drink a gallon of water, and I'm gonna catch you, buddy. We going.
Everyone, welcome back to On Purpose, the #1 health podcast in the world. Thanks to each and every single one of you. Thank you for listening to learn and grow every single week. And whether you're commuting right now, whether you're walking your dog, whether you're in the gym, whether you're walking around town, whether you're cooking, whatever you're doing right now, I can't wait for you to hear this episode. Now, today's guest needs zero introduction. I mean, who in the world does not know Kobe Bryant? But for the 0.2 people out there that don't know, I wanted to remind you, and for those of us to just recognize how honored I feel right now and how grateful I feel right now to be sitting here with this legend and icon. He's a 5-time NBA champion. He's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist and an 18-time NBA All-Star. And in his new role as writer, producer, and storyteller, Kobe created Granity Studios, which is aimed at helping athletes maximize their potential. And he's winning awards in Hollywood already as well. He's won an Academy Award in 2018 and an Annie Award in 2017. And today is the launch of the new novel, Legacy and the Queen, and also the new podcast, The Punies. So I can't wait to talk to him today. Kobe, thank you for doing this.
My pleasure, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's so grateful to be in your studios here as well. Happy to be here. And the first question I want to ask you, because so much of your content right now that you're creating here at Granity is aimed at helping young people, aimed at helping children. And as a father of 4 girls, I wanted to ask you, what's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself by being a father?
You know, it's amazing. Like when you become a parent, things become much more, life becomes, it lines things up for you a little differently, right? Like before you have kids, me and my wife, we can travel anytime. There's work and, you become you have a very clear focus. When you have children, it becomes about them. It's not about you guys anymore, right? And so that shift, it's a big one. It's one of kind of a selfishness together, and then to being absolutely selfless and doing anything you can for your kids. And so what I'm trying to do is create content to teach them first and foremost. That's why I started this whole thing, is just reading stories to them that I felt like didn't exist. Our kids are athletes, and they love reading about princesses and all these fairy tales, and they get a little sick and tired about the man saving the princess every time, and the same old stuff, the magical wands and all that. My kids are athletes, man. They want to learn about soccer balls and basketballs and volleyballs and magic that comes from that.
Yeah, and I love that you're encouraging young people to think more imaginatively about sports.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you go a step deeper. For me, observing you and learning about you.
Damn, my nigga, it's like when I choose to record, bro, now everything want to drive by, bro.
And hearing you speak in other interviews and everything, what I'm fascinated by is that you've dealt with things in life pretty head on. right? You've always gone at it. What took you a while? What was something in your life that you were shy about originally, or that took you a while to go head on with, but then finally you got there and you figured it out?
Writing Dear Basketball. That was a hard jump, because I'd written before. I started writing probably about 17 years ago. So practicing every day. A lot of things that I wrote were ads. And so you write an ad, nobody looks up at who wrote the ad, right? You can there's a certain anonymity that comes along with that, right? But writing Dear Basketball was different. It's putting it out there for the world to see. It's trying to create a short film. And I didn't know if I could do it, man. And, it was my daughter who kind of put things in perspective for me. Gianna, she's now 13. And she was like, well, you always tell us to go for it.
Rest in peace, Gigi, man. Long live Gigi, man.
She put you on the spot.
Yeah, she put me on the spot. She was like, you going to talk about it? You going to be about it, basically. And, and that gave me the final push.
I love that. When you started writing 17 years ago, did you envision that one day you would move into this storytelling space, or was it just something you enjoyed at the time?
No, man. It was just something I enjoyed, and I enjoyed writing ads. It was something funny about trying to distill a message down into 30 seconds or a minute, depending on the budget. You know what I mean? Trying to say something important, trying to speak to the, brand attributes, but also speak to something that's greater and that has a stronger message, stronger philosophical message, and how do you connect those dots? So putting that puzzle together was something that was really intriguing.
Yeah.
But I never thought I'd be writing novels or movies and that sort of stuff. Never, man.
I love that, man. I love it how everything evolves naturally. And actually hearing you say that, it reminds me. So my vision when I was sharing earlier became very clearly making wisdom go viral. And I was like, how do I take these teachings that are so sacred, they're hidden away in these books, and how do I make them really relevant and accessible and practical to the whole world? Because I know that anyone can access them. They're universal, right? These teachings can apply to anyone, but sometimes they're just hidden away.
Sure.
And a young person doesn't know how to find them. So that inspires me hearing them.
That's beautiful too, because especially in today's world, there's so much clutter. It becomes harder for kids to try to weave through a lot of the crap that's out there to find stuff that's actually beneficial to them.
Yeah, I think you reminded me, I think E.O. Wilson said, we're drowning in information, starving for wisdom.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Especially, and that's why I think your work is cutting through, because I think what you've managed to do with your new work is that you're finding ways to connect with what people care about, but you're taking it a step deeper.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not just settling for let's talk about sports. It's not just about sports.
Right.
It's about life, right?
It's about the metaphor that sports has for life. I mean, sports is the greatest metaphor we have in terms of dealing with life. Because, even if you listen to music will give you guidance, right? That you can then meditate on and think about how you would apply it. In sports, you have to apply it in the here and now. I mean, you're faced with challenges moment to moment. You're faced with pressures and anxiety and communication or the lack thereof and all this other stuff. It's in the moment. So you have to live it. And when you practice those things, you become better at it. But I just feel like in this day and age, our children have become less imaginative about how to problem solve. And parents and coaches have become more directive in trying to mandate or give orders or teach kids how to think and teach kids how to behave and tell them how to behave versus teaching them how to behave. And so that's why I'm creating these stories and creating this content.
We all know that children are the future, and finding a gift that a child will enjoy and be entertained by, but will also help them learn, expand their minds, and become more creative is extremely, extremely difficult. And that's why I'm excited to introduce you to KiwiCo. KiwiCo crates are a fantastic way to get your kids' brains working on STEAM projects, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and helping them expand their mind to think that. I think it's so true. When you treat inform actions were. The first month is just your father s.com/on purpose. Get started now. Yeah, I love that. I think it's so true. The doers.
Oh, shit, I don't know what the fuck that whole thing was right there, bro.
When you treat people as kids, then they always be kids.
Right.
Even when they grow up.
Yeah.
And for you, it was really powerful because you've talked about this before, where your father said to you, whether you score 0 or 60, I love you.
Yeah.
Tell me what that statement meant to you at that time, and how did it actually motivate you to continue scoring 60 rather than go, I'm all right at 0?
Well, it did more than that, right? So, the basketball stuff speaks for itself in terms of what that comment did for me. in terms of giving me stability and giving me confidence to say, okay, it's okay to fail because you're going to be loved no matter what. And that doesn't just mean basketball. That means anything in life. That means writing. That means being an entrepreneur. That means having the confidence to go for it. And I've seen too many parents do the exact opposite. And it terrifies children. And children become paralyzed by their own fear because they don't have that security blanket of love and comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. How have you been able to, in your life, see past the cloud of emotion to actually execute on things? Because I think what we were speaking about earlier, this challenge that young people have today, everyone has today, of just so much information, so much cloud of emotion, so many feelings, so much childhood baggage that you're bringing. Like, how have you always cut through that and execute on that?
You know, what I try to do is just try to be still and understand that things come and go, emotions come and go. The important thing is to accept them all, to embrace them all, and then you can choose to do with them what you want versus being controlled by emotion. You know, a lot of times I've seen players, even myself, you know, when I was younger, being consumed by a particular fear, and to the point where you're saying, okay, nah, it's not good to feel fear. I shouldn't be nervous in a situation like that. And it does nothing but grow. Versus stepping back and saying, yeah, I am nervous about the situation. Yeah, I am fearful about the situation. But what am I afraid of? And then you kind of unpack it. And then it gives you the ability to look at it for really what it is, which is nothing more than your imagination running its course, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that, because what you're saying is that when you're dealing with something, it's almost like, how can I get to the root of it?
Yeah.
Because sometimes what we're dealing with, like you're saying, it's an imagination, an illusion. It's not really...
It's not really a thing,
Yeah.
you know? Like, you think about game-winning shots or game-winning free throws, and people go to the free throw line and they're nervous about it. Well, what are you really nervous about? If you unpack that, okay, you're nervous that you're going to miss the shot. All right, so you miss the shot, then what happens? People are going to be embarrassed. You're going to be embarrassed because thousands of people, millions of people see you miss the shot. All right, and then what? People are going to talk bad about you. Okay, right? And so you're looking at it and go, are those things even important? You know what I mean? If that is my fear, like what is, you're worried about letting your teammates down? Okay, have you let them down before? Oh, I'm sure, in practice and things of that nature, right? They're still there.
Yeah.
You know? And so when you're able to unpack it, you kind of look at it for what it is, which is really nothing.
Yeah, I love that. Breaking it down. I think that's so important. I think everyone who's listening and watching right now, next time you're facing
That's a fact,
fear,
bro.
next time you're going against something, do that. Like, literally unpack it. Don't just settle for your first answer, because the first answer is rarely the right one.
Don't hide from it. You know, you got to be able to look at it and, you know, and deal with it head on.
Yeah.
I hope y'all taking this in, bro, because he giving real game right now. You know what I'm saying? He's giving real game. And I know I'm not really talking that much, but like I said, bro, it is a long video. It's 50 minutes. And, you know, these two people are two very, very smart human beings. You understand? So we're not going to talk. We just going to let the legends do what the legends do. You understand? We soak it up. We a sponge.
Yeah, man. And you talk about that because you talk about, you know, when you talk about missing 5 throws, and you talk about getting over yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
5 throws
getting
is
over
crazy,
yourself.
though.
How did you get that mentality?
Come on,
of just
Jay. You
being
got to
like,
fix that,
I need to
Papa.
get
It's
over
free
this.
throws.
Like, I
Free
need to get
throws.
over myself.
You know, trial and error. You know, you grow up and you make game-winning shots and it's awesome. You come back the next day and miss a game-winning shot and it's misery. And then the next day comes and you're back playing again. And you understand that life has this cyclical nature where it's, you know, what you do on Monday is fantastic, but then Tuesday is a bad day. But guess what? There's Wednesday.
Yeah.
So are we just supposed to live our lives like this the whole time? You know, versus just staying like this and understanding that it's really just a journey of evolution every day. It's just constant improvement, constant curiosity, constantly getting better. The results don't really matter. It's the figuring out that matters.
Yeah, and we all get obsessed about the results.
Yeah.
Like, we get obsessed about, like, the output.
Yeah.
Not the input, of not figuring it out and not, like, changing things. What you said, trial and error, like the experimenting.
Yeah.
We forget to do that.
It's unfortunate, man. Like, I've seen a lot of players, especially now, you know, in youth basketball, dealing with that. You have players that are, like, bigger and faster and stronger, and, you know, their coaches are just coaching them for results. You know, we're just going to use your size because you're bigger than every other 12-year-old out there to dominate today. But they're not growing, right? So they're just based on that result, but they're not focused on growing this young child into becoming a better athlete. And through that, teaching them how to become a more well-rounded person. and we're missing that.
Yeah. See what you said there. I want to ask you this, and I'm not saying because you know yourself best and you know how you've got there. So I'm asking it from a place of humility, of learning. When I look at you, I'm like, your superpower isn't just your work ethic. Your superpower isn't just like figuring things out. Your superpower is like you think strategically. Like that's a very strategic thought of saying this person could be this in the future if they were developed as a whole individual, rather than just like let's use them for the short term. And where did you develop that from? That ability to see beyond, to think deeper, to reflect deeper. Where did that come from?
Well, I had to do that because growing up in Italy. When I first moved over there, it was I didn't speak Italian. I didn't have any friends. I had the game of basketball, and through sport and playing soccer, I was able to make friends and build connections. But it was a lot of time spent alone. And when I came back to the States, I wasn't the most athletic kid. I was really scrawny, like really, really skinny, and had like major knee issues because I was growing. So I was the dorky kid with high socks and big old knee pads.
It's fashionable now.
It's fashionable now. It wasn't then. And so I had to look long term because in the here and now, I couldn't compete with these kids. I mean, there was kids that were like 12 years old with beards. Like, I can't. What am I supposed to do with that? Like, they're doing windmills and dunking backwards, and I'm happy to, like, tap the backboard, So I had to look at it from a long term because I wasn't going to give up on the game.
Right.
So I had to say, okay, this year, I'm going to get better at that. Next year, this. And then so forth and so on. And then patiently, I was able to catch them.
Yeah. I love hearing that. Because I think so many of us you believe, like, when you see people like yourself, it's like, it's so easy as an excuse to ourselves to just be, you're destined for it, right? You were made for it. It's kind of like that kind of, but when you talk about saying, actually, when I started, I didn't have the physicality that meant that I was going to make it. Like, you had to figure it out, and I love it.
Figure it out, man. It's just piece by piece, and it's the consistency of the work, which I feel like a lot of parents are missing today because we're not teaching that to our kids. We tend to say, like, kids don't want to do the work, but in reality, it's when we're failing them because we're not leading them the right way and teaching them, how to fish, you know what I mean? And so, like, the consistency of work, Monday, get better. Tuesday, get better. Wednesday, get better, right? And you do that over a period of time, not like 1 month or 2 months. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and then you can get to where you want to go.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was Bill Gates who was talking about that. He talks about how, like, we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and underestimate what we can do in 10 years.
No doubt.
Right? Like, it's like that,
No doubt.
I think everyone thinks about it, like, what can I do right now? Like, how can I make it happen? But, like, with you, I think people always ask you also, like, how do you deal with losing or failure? What I'm intrigued by is how someone like you deals with winning. Because you've won again and again. And like I was saying earlier, you won, obviously we know you won in basketball big as an athlete, but you're winning now, even in the work you're doing here as a storyteller, as a producer, right? Yeah. It's amazing to see so many incredible awards coming through. How have you dealt with winning? Like, when you win, what goes through your mind to help you to continue winning?
Well, it's a little different. Like, in basketball, it was different because I expected to win. Like, I expected us to win championships. I expected us to win 5. Quite honestly, I expected us to win 8. And so when you have that vision in sports, it's a direct competition. Like, I know how hard they're working. I know how hard we're working. I know what their strategy is. I know what ours is, So it's a little different. So when we went in the NBA, it was like, yeah, we expected to do that. But now we're going to come back and we're going to do it again, And so it's that constant, like, all right, you're churning. You win 1 championship, I'm back in the gym the next day working, getting ready for the next one. Now, it's different because it's not about the awards. You just wind up trying to create something that's going to inspire someone that hopefully, through that inspiration, they can inspire somebody else. And what I've come to learn as my career went on is that's more significant than any championship. Is how do you connect with somebody that can then connect with another? And then whether the awards come or not, that's for,
That's crazy, bro. They saying some real shit right now, man. They saying some real shit right now, man. A lot of people, I do that. I tend to do that myself. I tend to think about the now, bro. And sometimes that be fucking me up a lot. Because I be thinking about, like, damn, I need this shit right now. Like, you ever seen that TikTok, bro? Well, I think it's Mike Epps, and he's like, I need to figure out a way to come up with this money tomorrow. You know what I'm talking about? If y'all know what I'm talking about, bro, let me know, please. But I tend to do that, bro. I'm trying to practice though now, being more patient, just just working and letting shit just unfold and go as it go. You know what I'm saying?
The Academy Award, body to decide.
Yeah.
But like for us, it's just to try to create things.
The digital world we live in makes selling online very, very easy. But there's one hard part. It's actually getting your orders out. How many of you some.com and use code J at checkout? Yeah, well, I guess now that's what shifted, that now the intention isn't even expecting to win, it's expecting to change lives.
Right.
Right? Like your content is really about making a difference and an impact on young people's lives.
Sure.
Which I think is like the biggest way of winning.
I think so. I mean, we're looking at 62% of young children are dropping out of sports. 62%. And they cite the fact that it's not fun anymore. But what does that tell them? Man, that's telling us as grown-ups are getting in the way. Get out the way. Let these kids be imaginative, which, like in our stories, it's important that, there's a fantasy nature to it, right? But it's rooted in reality, right? When we have fire-breathing winged horses and things of that nature, those are actual drills that are taking place. We don't have fire-breathing winged horses actually performing that, but we do have ball machines that are spitting balls at tennis players, right? And so all of our stories are all anchored in an element of truth, so that children feel like when they are doing these drills with these ball machines, they can envision maybe it's a fire-breathing winged horse.
Yeah, to keep them excited.
Yeah, they can envision Gus throwing fireballs at them.
Yeah.
And even the plays, like when in the Wizenard series, when the basket is opening up and shrinking, these are things that we experience as athletes. Like some days I feel like I can't make a shot, man, and the basket feels like the size of a keyhole.
Yeah.
And other days it looks like a swimming pool.
Yeah.
That's magic. And so we root our magic in reality, so that when kids experience these things, particularly the failure side of it, they can connect it to one of our stories and say, okay, I've seen this before. I know how to deal with this.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. I love that analogy of like feeling the basket bigger or smaller, and like being able to vision that. I can vision it right now. Like, you're so right. Like some days it looks huge, and I love that. That's such a great way of thinking about it. And I guess so much of this is from your real life vision.
Oh yeah.
This is like some days.
I've experienced it.
Yeah, but I love that because it's also giving them the permission to say, like, be imaginative about this, right?
Yes.
And that obviously gives so much. I think when we imagine, it changes the reality of, I'm just sitting out here taking shots.
Yes.
Right? Which can get boring and tiring.
It becomes mechanical.
Mechanical, that's the right word.
Mechanical. Yeah. Like our job is to try to inspire the creativity inside of our children, so that they can think through how to problem solve situations. So like, when I coach my daughter's team, it's not about giving them answers. It's about asking them questions and getting them to process things, right? When the game is being played, I'm not sitting there giving them answers or barking out things on the sideline. I sit down and I'm quiet. My assistant coach sits there and she's quiet. And the kids figure things out for themselves, or they don't. And then they come back and there's always questions. And then you kind of ask them more questions and you help them figure it out. But then you see their level of excitement to practice every day increase, because it's a process that they are owning, right? They're not coming to get orders barked at them every day. They're coming for kind of their personal quest to get better.
Yeah. And how do your daughters feel about you coaching? I guess that style makes them feel comfortable, but how have you been able to manage that with the pressure of you being there?
No, it's no pressure, because it's their process to own. Like I have knowledge and information that I've gained through playing. So like the little details of things I can teach at a high level, but ultimately it's them.
Yeah, you seem very still and detached about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the kids love playing basketball, and so that's the anchor of it all. They come and they play and they learn and they have fun, and and they compete, and they challenge themselves and one another, and they just get better every day.
Yeah. How have you seen that with Legacy and the Queen? You chose tennis.
Yeah.
Like, what was the choice of sports about? I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah.
Why tennis?
Yeah. So like the first novel we did was the Wizenard series. It was important for that to be basketball, because I wanted the first story to be one of empathy and compassion. And in team sports, if you don't have that, you can't win, right? And so it was important to tell the tale of a basketball team dealing with their own personal fears, and have those fears and insecurities lead to empathy and compassion for others. right? With the second story, I wanted to look more internal, individually, and look at how do you deal with the inner challenges, the kind of the self-negotiation that takes place inside of our own heads. And there was no sport better than that than tennis. There's golf, but tennis, you have more movement, which to me symbolizes life in general, because there's a lot going on, right? There's the elements in tennis that you have to deal with as you deal with in golf, maybe not to the same extent, but they're still there. And then there's the confrontation with the person across the net from you.
Yes.
Right? As well as the strengths and weaknesses in your own movements and how you feel in your own body. And because of that, it was important for this story to be a tennis story.